Good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor live from New York, with my Christmas tree behind me and the beautiful greatest piece of music. Oh, maybe the greatest piece of music written for religious services at Christmas, Bach's Christmas Oratorio. This is the first part. Believe it or not, it was written in 1725. That's a while ago, isn't it? Johann Sebastian Bach wrote this in 1725, and he wrote it for the services in Leipzig, where he was the cantata, 1734-35. So it was Christmas 1734 going into New Year's 1735, and it was first performed on Saturday, December 25, 1734, at St. Nicholas Church in Leipzig, and then performed that evening at the Vesper service at St. Thomas Church. The part two was performed the next day, and in sequence through the Epiphany on January 6th. And this is the beginning of it. It's a chorus. It says, "Shout, exalt, arise. Praise the days of Christmas. Glorify what the Most High this day has done. Leave off faint-heartedness. Ban lamenting. Break forth into song, full of shouting and rejoicing. Serve the Most High with glorious choirs. Let us revere his name." And then we will take a little break here, because then the cantor, the minister, the cantor, the priest, will take out the gospel of the Lord. That's what it looks like, right? That's the book of the Gospels. And he'll go to Luke chapter 2, and he'll read the most famous of the Christmas Gospels. I believe the most famous, read in Catholic masses all throughout the world on Christmas Eve, read in Protestant churches on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, other Christian churches, and read for historical reasons everywhere. I'll read it to you. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. So all went to be enrolled, each to his own town. And Joseph, too, went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David that is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. While they were there, the time came for her to have her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there were shepherds in that region living in the fields and keeping the night watch over their flock. The angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were struck with great fear. The angel said to them, "Don't be afraid, for behold, I proclaim to you good news of great joy, which shall be for all the people. For today in the city of David, a Savior has been born for you, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You'll find an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was a multitude of the heavenly host with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace to those on whom his favor rests." The gospel of the Lord. That's been read for 2,000 years, huh? Close to that. Luke wrote it probably about 80 years after the death of Jesus. and it's been read that way in Catholic, Christian, Orthodox churches since then. And there are really two other renditions of the Nativity story, one by Matthew and one by Mark. John, rather than doing a nativity, does a chronology, a genealogy, rather, of the background of Jesus. And John's gospel is the most poetic. The other three, called the synoptic gospels, because they were written roughly together, kind of track each other quite a bit. There are some differences and a lot of similarities. And I believe Matthew's is the longest. Lots of people think Mark's or Luke's is the most accurate. I kind of like Matthew's the best. And John's is the most ethereal and written quite a bit after the other three. Christianity had taken kind of a form by then. So let's begin our evening tonight, which is our last show before Christmas. We'll have a special on Christmas night, and I would consider this a special. By one thought on what Christmas means. This is a world at great distress, in great distress. America is, many believe, and I share it, in more a struggle with what and who it is than it has been since the Civil War. Our way of life has been fundamentally altered. Our rights, to a very large extent, have been destroyed, and we're living, for all intents and purposes, in a state that has taken for itself the kind of power that usually happens in a dictatorship, in a dictatorial state. The right of freedom of religion has been abridged, and during the pandemic, completely obliterated. Indeed, the right to go into taverns, which is no right anywhere, was paramount to the right to praise God, to the First Amendment right that you have from God or nature. The right of free speech, gosh, I don't have it. I don't know if you do, but I have the right of free speech with the possibility that I'll be fined, arrested. What I say, which is perfectly normal, will be considered a crime. If I explain to you how I believe the election was stolen, I'm involved in an insurrection. Of course, I haven't seen an insurrection. If they talk about January 6th, a judge actually dismissed me from a case brought by these scoundrels involving an insurrection, but they don't seem to pay attention to that. They just pay attention to the judges who do their bidding. So we've got to pray hard this Christmas that we can bring to all of our fellow citizens the true meaning of what it means to love and respect each other. To me, the message of Christmas, and we'll talk more about it over the next several days, the message of Christmas is that God became man to save us from our sins. We're imperfect human beings. We don't have the power of saving ourselves. We need God. For those of us who are Christians, we believe we need his son, Jesus Christ, to save us. And we put our faith and our reliance in him, and we attempt as best we can to do what he told us to do, and we fail at it. And the beautiful thing about it is Jesus knew we would fail about it. And his love for the sinner was immeasurable. His arms were always open to come to him when we fail, and then to try to do better. So we need his help really badly. Now, I have a thing that I found. It's not quite Christmas yet, so I may find something else as well. But every Christmas, I look for something that sort of defines that Christmas. And so far, the best little explanation or best little act and statement that I saw was from a Jewish woman and is an Israeli, Mrs. Heim, Iris Heim. And Iris lost her son, the unthinkable, right? The great nightmare of every parent. How could you lose a child, and how would you react? I thank God haven't, and I don't know how I would react. I know, particularly when they were younger, I'd have nightmares about it. So Iris lost her wonderful son, Yotam, during that terrible day of March 7th. And she was, October 7th. And she was broken by it. Along with Yotam, his friend Samar Talalka, only 22, and Elan Shamriz, just 26, were killed. And they were tragically killed by members of the Bislamach Brigade, 17th Battalion, Israeli soldiers. It was, as happens in war, friendly fire. They made a mistake and thought they were Hamas terrorists. So this woman, who I think you see her with her lovely woman and a lovely son, red hair, my goodness. Here's what she said yesterday. This captures the spirit of Christmas. I don't know. I don't think a priest, cardinal, or pope could say it better. I'm Yotam's mother. I wanted to tell you that I love you very much. She's talking to the soldiers who were in the brigade that killed him and the ones that did. And I hug you here from afar. I know that everything that happened is absolutely not your fault. And nobody's fault except Hamas. May their name be wiped out and their memory erased from the earth. I want you to look after yourselves and to think all the time that you're doing the best thing in the world, the best thing that could happen, that could help us, because all the people of Israel and all of us need you. That's written from a woman in great despair, great depression, and she's hanging on to one hope: the strength, the courage, and the ability of the IDF to save them from a group of savages who are pledged to destroying the Israeli people and the Jewish people. Not the first time in history that a group has been pledged to do that. God willing, it'll be the last, but somehow I don't think so. Not when I see the hatred of Jewish people in the Arab world. And don't get angry at me that I'm gender, whatever, or the hatred and the historical hatred in the Arab world, the Jewish people is massive, not universal. Of course, greatest among Islamic extremists, but there, got to be rooted out. The hatred will, over time, destroy them. Israelis are not going to be destroyed. They're God's chosen people. They've prevailed over far greater odds from prehistory to now. Our prayers are with them. We owe them so much of what we are and who we are as the greatest nation on earth, and then broader, the greatest culture to civilize the world, Western civilization. Large bedrock of it is the Jewish people. This weekend, we're going to do something special. We're going to have a group of messages, explanations that we're going to put on X, formerly known as Twitter. I just love to say it that way. And you'll be able to get it by just subscribing. You hit the little subscribe button. You go to @Rudy. You go to @Rudy.
That's right.
And you hit subscribe. And right now you'll find there an explanation of the case in Colorado and exactly why it's an abomination of legal reasoning. And then by tomorrow, you will have a short, they'll all be about 15 minutes, no more than 20 or 25 minutes. So you'll be able to absorb them quickly while you're busy. I want you to have these during the Christmas season. Tomorrow, you'll have a short explanation of the relevance of Bach's Christmas oratorio and of Bach, really. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a real attempt to make Bach woke, right? And Bach is anything but woke. And a terrific book has been written about Bach's interaction with modernity. And I would like to explain it to you and urge you ultimately to read it. It's a short book, and I'll give you an explanation of it. And it might help as it fits into Christmas, because Christmas is so important to Bach, and it is so relevant to the modern world. The next day, we'll have, for Christmas Eve, a short, we can call it an essay or presentation on the meaning of Christmas as it fits today in this very complex world that we have. I believe we are looking at what was predicted for us by our founding fathers, that the destruction of America, if it ever happened, would come from within, not from without. And it looks like it's happening. It doesn't mean we can't stop it, but it doesn't mean we should put our head in the sand and ignore it. It is happening, and it's made a great deal of progress. Then on Sunday at 10 o'clock, Dr. Maria and I will be on WABCRadio.com. And we'll devote that also to reflections on Christmas and also the things that are going on in the world as it relates to Christmas. That's called Uncovering the Truth. She and I have been doing that for, a number of years, and it's one of the most popular shows on WABC on radio and certainly on ABC. We will also put out an analysis of, and it should be ready by Sunday because I've been working on it. I believe that both wars, the war in Israel, Hamas, Israel, and the war in Ukraine are at something of a turning point. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to figure out which way they're going. And I'd like to give you a few things to look at as you watch the direction that it goes through. And I think it's better done just all by itself rather than as part of America's Mayor Live or my radio show where a lot of other things distracted. I think you'll find it very interesting. And I hope these things will supply for you some talking points during your holidays. You know, I'm one that doesn't believe that you shouldn't talk about politics with your family. I think you should. Politics, I mean, if you can't talk about politics, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with politics, or there's something wrong with both. This is something we should be in a democracy.
We should talk about it. Absolutely.
We should be able, and if we're not being able to talk, something is happening to us from the outside that's very, very dangerous. It's called they're trying to make us an authoritarian state. And the best way to break it is screw them and talk. And at Christmas, no better time to do it. Now, Ted, would you help me, because you are the more technically proficient? Then, of course, we'll be back on again on live radio at 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, WABCRadio.com. And we'll be back here on Christmas night with Dr. Maria and Ted, and we'll have lots of fun. And we'll do a Christmas show. And let's see what we do. We'll have some fun, and we'll also maybe talk somewhat about what happened during the year as we get ready also for the new year. So tell them how they can find us. And I ask you to please do this for you and for me. For you, because I think there'll be many of these messages on that subscription channel. And we're going to do it all throughout the election year so we can remain very, very close and make sure we have the right information and the correct information, because there's so many lies and so much of an attempt to do it. And I can only do so much during the radio and television shows. And this will allow me to focus in on a particular point and get it to you. And then as we move along and develop it, which we will do very quickly, this subscription channel, you'll be able to communicate with me directly and tell me your thoughts and the things you believe people should be warned about. So Ted, would you explain to them how they should do this?
Yes, Mayor. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen here. You'll see this is the mayor's X account right here. So that is his X account, of course. So we're going to
formerly known as Twitter.
And so you see that, go to x.com on your phone, download the X app, formerly known as Twitter. Head over to the mayor's Twitter or X account at Rudy Giuliani. That's his name, at Rudy Giuliani. And as soon as you get there, you'll see that big purple button right there in the upper right-hand corner. Go ahead and give that button a quick push.
$10.
Just $10 a month, and you will have exclusive access to content that we're only providing to subscribers. Now, that we're not going to do anything about our hour-long program, so I don't want everyone to be too concerned. However, you're going to want to be a part of our subscription network, because that's where the mayor is going to be providing more in-depth coverage of some of these issues. He's really going to get into the specifics. And so this allows for us to spend extra time on some of these topics, because we have a 1-hour show every day. And as we say, it's the fastest hour on the internet. I mean, we went over the show tonight. The mayor had at least a dozen subjects.
I cut out half.
And he cut out half.
And probably by the end, I'll cut out another half.
And by the way, the mayor, when he cuts these, I mean, he's cutting out stories that need to get out, right?
Yeah.
But we just don't have the time.
And it also gives us a chance, and I'll try to keep them very, very brief so you don't get burdened, but it gives us a chance to go into a little more depth, you know? It's kind of like what the president of Harvard didn't do. It's the footnotes, the authority for what we're saying. You know, I wrote dissertations and papers, and I don't understand what that crook did. But I also think that Harvard is almost like a criminal institution at this point. To be the worst university with regard to anti-Jewish hatred has got to be a smear on their reputation. That means don't go there. You know, my daughter went to Harvard, and I paid the ridiculous amounts then, which probably were nothing compared to now. And I really think I'm entitled to my money back.
So to put a bow on it, on this specific topic, don't be like Harvard. Don't limit yourself and what you are exposed to. Of course, a lot of you, if you're listening right now to us, you're likely a fan of the mayor. However, there's always more we can learn. And unlike the communists and the Marxists over at some of these institutions, the mayor's going to give it to you straight, and he's going to provide you with perspectives that sometimes people aren't willing to talk about, right? Or they cover up.
Yeah,
or
that's why I'm in the trouble that I'm in, because I'm telling you what the authorities do not want you to hear. I'm doing it deliberately. And a man interrupted me today when I was coming out of the radio station. He was a photographer, actually, for the Post, and he was a very nice man. I kind of know the photographers for the Post. They've only photographed me 4,044 times. And he said, you know, I feel very, very sorry for you. How do you put up with it? And I was looking pretty happy, actually. And I said, you know, I put up with it because I do it for my country. Do all of it for my country. I was mayor for my country and for my city. And I brought out the criminality of Joe Biden for my country. I brought forth when I got it immediately, or as soon as I could, fighting through the forces of evil to get out the hard drive. And then the forces of evil defrauded you during that election by getting a group of extremely dishonest men and women to cover it up, and then to take vengeance, which is what they're doing with me and my friends, not just me. Steve Bannon, Mr. Navarro, and of course the president. So please subscribe. It will help us a great deal. The money will help us expand, particularly at a time under which we're under some degree of stress. If you could buy a couple of Christmas presents and put a few other people on there, great. And as I say, it's going to expand so that we can get to know each other. Meaning, I have always worked as a mayor by trying to find out what the people think as well. I used to spend time going to coffee shops and walking the street and talking to people. And I think Ted and Rob, who are here, can tell you I'm very accessible. And people come up and give me advice all the time.
It's every day.
Yeah. And that, for me, that's part of how I learn as well as read. So this can be enormously useful. Maybe we'll develop something that others haven't developed yet. Communication that, and it'll start with the subscription, and then it'll grow. So let's get to a couple of the things that are happening. I told you I think both wars are at a turning point. And I said I will go into detail on that on Sunday on exactly how. But the war in Israel in Gaza is going along very, very well, very quickly. Question is, can they get to the final goal of eliminating Hamas before the Biden administration, which is now almost fully acknowledged to be against them, cuts them off? And at the same time, another front has opened in the north. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have a map here so we can show you on the map what I'm saying about that. And then we'll also sneak in and show you the route that Joseph and Mary took from Nazareth to Jerusalem and then to Bethlehem so they could sign up during the tax census because he was of the house and family of David. We'll be right back.
I'll explain in a second.
But that's too far away.
Oh yeah, probably. Try that. I'll see how it sounds.
Yeah, we can move it in like this.
Yeah. Move this over a little bit. 20 seconds. All right, we're back on.
Okay. There. Just like that, okay?
Yep.
How's that? Is that good?
Yep.
Is that better?
That's good.
All right. Now, I think you see over here, but I hope you see because I don't. Is this on? Can they see it all?
Yep.
Yes,
I can't see it on the screen that I have.
right there.
So let's get our bearings here. This is Bethlehem, okay? Jerusalem is right here.
No, don't pull it. Don't pull it. There's a
Right?
cord.
Bethlehem.
There's a cord.
Well, I'm
Stop.
sorry, but we need to
Stop pulling it. You're good. You're good.
Okay. This is Bethlehem. This is Jerusalem. And way up here is Nazareth. I mean, there's a lot of discussion in the Old Testament and the New Testament that the last place the Messiah would come would be Nazareth. And then a lot of discussion that it would be a surprise and he would come from Nazareth. This was considered like, I guess, the boondocks, right?
It's okay.
So Joseph lived up here and was a carpenter, but his family came from here. So he had to buy donkey, take his wife with child down through what is now disputed territory with the Palestinian Authority called the West Bank. I believe they went through Jerusalem and then to Bethlehem, where they ended up on Christmas night and he couldn't find a place to stay because so many people had come to sign up for the first census that was going to be used by the Roman Empire to make sure they collected their obligatory taxes. Now, in that area down here, there are even to this day regularly bombs which are being launched from Gaza, less than there were, many intercepted by the Iron Dome, but still people being injured by shrapnel and still a certain degree of terrorist attack. But what is happening, although a great deal of progress is being made in Gaza in getting control of it, up here in the north, which is Lebanon and Syrian border, and this is where Hezbollah is located, and this is where the very, very important Golan Heights is located, which whoever possesses it has a massive strategic advantage, being able to look down on a great deal of Israel with tremendous offensive capability. And for the longest time, this was sort of just exchanging fire without too much purpose. In the last several days, it's become much more intense. The Israelis already have moved 100,000 troops there, and I believe they're moving more. This cannot break out into a major war because that will really take a great deal of emphasis off here and put Israel in a very difficult position, particularly now with the weasels, Biden and Blinken, running in the other direction. I mean, there's an article today explaining all the money they've given to Hamas. I mean, they're funding both sides of the war. Really, they're doing that in Ukraine too, with the oil they buy from Russia and these people are like they're so devoid of morals that I think at a time like Christmas, that's a spiritual time, it is not inappropriate to say that they're evil. They're evil people. I believe we got a Christmas present today. I do. I hope you got Christmas presents, but you got one that you don't know you got. The United States Supreme Court kicked out Jack Smith's attempt, which is really not an attempt, has anything to do with the law. Jack Smith doesn't have anything to do with the law. He's a completely unethical prosecutor whose case was reversed by the Supreme Court 9-0 for his unethical prosecution of the governor of Virginia, a Republican who he framed. Very hard to have on your record a case kicked out of the Supreme Court 9-0 and then be selected as a special prosecutor unless the Attorney General selected you to be an unfair special prosecutor. I mean, if you want a fair special prosecutor, let's try something simple. You select a fair man. If you want an unfair special prosecutor, you select a man who has a reputation and a finding by the highest court in the land that he's an unfair man. Well, he's an unfair man, and the unfair man was trying to rush the determination of presidential immunity and some of the other infirmities in his completely sham case against President Trump for affecting or improperly or illegally affecting the election, and somehow vaguely having something to do with January 6th, although he doesn't charge it. Supreme Court said, 9-0, go to hell. We're not going to rush anything for you. It's going to go through the Court of Appeals, which puts his march, because what is this really all about? This isn't all about, the whole strategy here dies if this case is put off until after the election, because he wants him tried before the election for the purpose of prejudicing him as much as possible, for the purpose of taking his attention away from the election, and hopefully convicting him, and hoping that Christie is correct, and that as a convicted person, Trump won't be elected. Although there are polls that show that he will. and polls that show that he won't, I have to say. There are polls that go either way on that. It's strange to see a Republican hoping that he'll be convicted, particularly since, as a former United States attorney, no matter what he says, he knows these cases are bull. He knows that. These aren't real crimes. It's hard to even describe the crime. The one involving the papers in Mar-a-Lago is the crime of moving papers around. I mean, Biden committed a crime. He stole the papers and put them in places where they were accessible to the red Chinese. Every place he put them, they were accessible to the red Chinese. Trump took them to Mar-a-Lago under the Presidential Records Act. Unlike Biden, he had a perfect right to take them, and he kept them in a secure place, Mar-a-Lago, and he moved them around in different places. People don't go to jail for moving records around in a statute that doesn't have a criminal penalty. I mean, a lot of these things, the crooked Democrats, they kind of create crimes that they put things in that aren't there, like they did in Colorado. They put the word president in the 14th Amendment. It's not there. They created an enforcement mechanism. The 14th Amendment says Congress has to do that. They're smart enough as judges to know Congress doesn't mean them. Again, it's gotten to the point now where the manipulation of the law has become evil. And it is destroying our republic. It's not a joke. It is really, really destroying our republic. This is what they want to do, the crooked Democrats. This would be Trump's year if they could have their way. This is the year he's running for president of the United States as the nominee, probably of the Republican Party, and he is ahead in every poll. He's the leading candidate for president of the United States. They want to take the leading candidate for president of the United States. They want to try him 4 times. President Trump is very fond of saying Al Capone was tried once. They want to try him 4 times in 1 year. That just happens to be the year when he's running against Demented Joe, which means he probably is going to win anyway, because he'll probably campaign more than Joe, even though he's on trial, because Joe can't campaign. But look at this. Jack Smith wants to try him on March 4. I think the Supreme Court just told him, take it and stuff it. So something's going to happen to that March 4 date. It's not going to be done by March 4. Alvin Bragg wants to try him on March 25th for something that happened about 900 years ago and was blocked by the statute of limitations. It's a non-disclosure agreement of which thousands have been executed. He's the first person ever to be prosecuted for it. First one ever prosecuted under Smith's construction of the law. First person ever to be prosecuted under Bragg's construction of the law. So that ties him up pretty good in the beginning of the election year. Then Smith wants to come back in May and try him in Florida on the moving around of documents. He'd be the first person tried on that also. Getting a little suspicious that these are all first person being tried cases, all in the election year. Democrat. And now we get to Fannie Fannie. Fannie wants to try him on a case that is probably the most idiotic of all, which is that she wants to try him because he fought because he believed that the election in Georgia was stolen. The election in Georgia was stolen. Fannie knows it. They all know it.
They all know it.
They stole it. They're all protecting each other.
Yeah.
They even doctored videos that they gave me, which you're going to find out about, that came out of Ratzenberger's office. What was it? About 27 minutes of missing tape in Watergate. I got those scoundrels chopping up about 3 hours worth of tape. I mean, there's video of the crimes. There are reports that have been done since then that prove that the election was stolen. There was just a brouhaha with, 27,000 votes that were in jeopardy that the crooked governor Kemp denies actually happened, but there are sources that say did happen. We'll see what happens with that. But Fannie wants to try that racketeering case in October. Be on trial on election day.
Unbelievable.
Now, not only is she a Democrat, but let me show you how political this is. She came to New York and Washington and collected money for her district attorney's race. What the hell would people in New York and Washington, Democrats, donate money to her in a race other than to fund her persecution of Trump? What do they have to do with a screwed up, incompetent DA where crime is going crazy? I mean, Fannie is a totally incompetent prosecutor of murderers, of drug dealers. Fulton County is so corrupt. I don't know. You got to pay to like breathe. It's a shakedown county, a crooked county. Oh, geez, so is New York. And what the hell is Washington, D.C.? Another crooked Democratic city. Boy, they really pick them.
The home of corruption.
And why did the people who brought the case against me that happened in Georgia bring it in D.C.? Of course, D.C. is actually worse than Georgia. You can't lose in D.C. if you say Trump or a Trump friend is the defendant. Nobody's lost so far. So, man, have they done a job on our system of justice. And they must think we're stupid. We can't figure out what this is. This is first time ever tried for the offense. First time ever tried for the offense. First time ever tried for the offense. RICO. First time RICO ever used for exercising your First Amendment rights. Believe me, this is not a RICO case. I know RICO. He was a friend of mine. Fannie's no friend of RICO. Fannie is so damn stupid. She rendered an indictment before the grand jury voted it. And then she was so stupid, she didn't even change it. And the grand jury voted for the indictment to tell you that the grand jury is a joke. And the court's a joke for not dismissing it. And they want to try the former president of the United States in the joke, Democrat, crooked Fulton County for something nobody else has ever been tried for. What the Supreme Court really should do is take all four of those cases and kick them to China. And the cases would be very, very easily tried in a Chinese court, like my case could have been tried in a Chinese court, where you don't get to defend yourself. And if you try to defend yourself, they threaten you, put you in jail. That would be a good place to try it. So thank you, Supreme Court, for the first. I was a little worried that the Supreme Court, they seem to want us, but my goodness, we're at the point now where these things aren't even close anymore. What they did in Colorado is beyond absurd, so let's take a look at Colorado one more time, because it bears repetition, and that's going to go to the Supreme Court. And before we do that, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back. You want to get the
device is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
Subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it, and I use it, and it's good. I mean, it's great. It's just exactly the same, except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy. using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code Rudy to receive $30 off.
We'll do it.
Well, I can do it. I can do it from the top of my head. This is Rudy Giuliani, and I am back with elves running around. And I'm going to take my balance of nature now. It was on the tree, and Rob was scooting around getting it down for me. There's the fruit. See how it blends in up there, over there? You showed a few on the tree, right, Ted? You showed a few of these on
I
the
did.
tree. See, I have a balance of nature, that fruit. Veggies. How do they get it, Ted?
That's right. Balanceofnature.com. And be sure to use that promo code Rudy.
Okay. Promo code Rudy, Balance of Nature. I can see one right behind me here.
We got two. You see the tree? Yeah, we made some
I'm
ornaments.
trying to figure it out. It's a little. There we are,
So
right there.
be sure to
hold it. Da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da, da-da-da.
That's right. And I was a little bit distracted, but go to balanceofnature.com and use that promo code Rudy, R-U-D-Y. Of course, this makes a great Christmas gift. It's not too late. Even if they are to arrive after Christmas Day, get these for a loved ones. Get these for your loved ones. And you're letting them know how much you care about them. And you want them to be around for a while. You want them to be healthy so they take their balance of nature.
Like
so
me.
you can spend more time with them for
my
the
friends want me to be around, and a whole bunch
years
of
to
people
come.
don't want me to be around. I'm one of these people that a lot of people want me to be around. A lot of people don't want me to be around. You know who they are.
Well, we're happy you're
they're
around.
the ones that I caught stealing millions. I would really like to emphasize the fact that I caught them. I am the one who brought out Biden's criminality in January and February of 2019 before anyone else. Now, I have to say that there were suggestions of it. Oh, for a long time, my gosh, suggestions way back when he was shaking down the M&R bank and James was taking all money, but nobody ever really had the guts to put it together. So in Ukraine, they're beginning to have great difficulties with their draft. And it's very interesting because the article in the Wall Street Journal today, we're going to expand on this in the special, says they're having draft difficulties. And they're drafting a lot of older people. One gentleman, basically, who's like in his 40s saying, I'm not capable of fighting. And they're putting them on the front lines. A lot of the battle-ready people volunteered at the beginning. A lot of them are wounded or dead. And they're having trouble now filling their requirements for additional troops. They also have what the article says, and this is something you got to really worry about with Ukraine. And it's amazing that we can't think in a complex way. This is what happened in Vietnam and so many of our wars. We don't have the ability to think in a complex way. It has to be all or nothing. Let's just say it straight out. Ukraine's a crooked country at the very top, like ours is. We don't have any right to be particularly judgmental about this because any Ukrainian would have the right to tell me your court system is as bad, or maybe our court system is worse than theirs. At the very top, we're essentially the same, although I think our president probably has taken a heck of a lot more money than theirs. And I think our president's a bigger crook. I can't tell if Zelensky's a crook or he enables them. He certainly enables them. His main patron is the one or two most crooked man in Ukraine, Kolomoisky, who is the principal money launderer, the owner of Privat Bank and for decades has run two separate banks, a legal one and an illegal one. When Zelensky ran for office, he financed him. He's sort of like his Soros, although he's not as bad a man as Soros. He's not. He's a bad man, but he's not as bad a man as Soros. He's a crook. He's an organized criminal. He's a money launderer. Kolomoisky. He's a patriot. Right? Fought in the streets for his country and is a hero. I mean, it's a complicated country. They're wonderful people. I know Ukrainians really well, but I'm not going to say they are crooked. Their government is crooked. Well, of course, that means they are because they're in the government. But this is like saying, all Italians are terrible because of the mafia. You got to have a complexity of thinking where you can say this. And now, a bunch of the liberals are gonna, because they want to be at war over Ukraine, are going to yell and scream that I'm defaming the Ukrainian people. Like hell I am. I care about the Ukrainian people a hell of a lot more than they do. I've done a lot more for the Ukrainian people than any of them have. In fact, by fighting corruption in Ukraine, you're doing something for the Ukrainian people, you jackasses. This is what you did in Haiti, and this is why they hate you in Haiti. And I love the people of Haiti. Love them. And you Clintons, they hate you. They see right through you when the phony idiots here in America don't. They know what big crooks you are. You stole the money for the poorest people in this hemisphere. Democrats care about the poor? Yeah, like my backside. They used to. They don't anymore. They care about themselves. Man, you are a disgusting political party. What you do to the poor people in the inner city. How many of your congressmen have become rich while the people in the inner city get poor? You were doing that in my city, you bums. And I stopped you. And who straightened out Harlem? Not you. None of you crooks straightened out Harlem. I did. I didn't pay any attention to you. Oh, you call me all kinds of names. Hitler, racist. Racist? You're the racist. I care about your people. You don't. You don't steal from people you care about. I didn't steal from your people. I saved their lives. You just didn't give a damn and let them die, just like you're doing in Chicago now. So, please, start to think critically. Develop it. Exercise your mind. Read. Part of why I'm starting this subscription program, and maybe this is presumptuous of me, but my mother did it for me. I want to do it for you. I want to get you to think. I know many of you are brilliant and you're smarter than I am, and you're going to help me, but many of you probably aren't, or are equal, or I have certain talents and you have others. My goodness, I mean, I look at Rob here, he can fix anything. I can't fix anything. If I tried to fix it, I'd break it. But I can think my way through things. I understand logic really, really well. And I've absorbed so much history in my life. I mean, I wanted to be Secretary of State. I always thought it was really unfair. And even my own people would say, oh, you don't know enough about foreign policy. I've been in 95 countries since 2002. And I've made over 150 foreign trips. And when I went there, which was largely for business and often to give a speech or to consult on security or to do a major project sometimes, I would always take extra time to read the history of the country, to meet with the leaders that would meet with me. So I met about half the world leaders. And to learn their geography, which is why I have all these maps. I love these maps. I remember somebody asking me, when Nikki Haley didn't know the regions of Ukraine that were in dispute with Russia, which I think is outrageous because she was a UN ambassador. I said, I not only know the region, I can give you directions for your car in Ukraine. I mean, I really do know Ukraine. I helped build security facilities there for the police, not the military. So I've spent a lot of time learning about the world. I want to share it with you, but I don't necessarily want to share with you just facts. I want to share with you a process of thinking. Think your way through things. Kind of look at when you're very convinced that somebody is wrong, pretend they're right and analyze it. And then you may find out you're even more correct than you thought in the beginning, but maybe
That is genius to say that.
maybe it'll turn it around. Now, I had to learn how to do that as a trial lawyer, because if I'm going to try a case against you, I got to assume for a minute your case is right. It may not be. You may be lying your backside off, but I got to pretend you're not. So we'll go through things. We'll go through things like that. When you have your holiday parties and get-togethers soon now, family. You had your business one already, right? But pretty soon, the families are going to start getting together, I hope, right? And when the families get together, you're going to debate politics. We can talk about Colorado. I want to give you an analysis of Colorado so you can blow the phonies away, okay? What I would like you to do is to just copy the 14th Amendment, the 5 sections of it, and take a copy of it, written out copy, and then just take section 3 and section 5. And I want you to look at section 3 and section 5. And what you should do, because this is the way to analyze a statute, the way a lawyer would, or a constitutional amendment, just get the relevant language. There's a lot of irrelevant language in there that doesn't apply. But look at that there. It says under number 3, this is the operative provision that you live or die on in terms of whether you're right or wrong in something extremely important, disqualifying, in this case, the leading candidate for president. And here are the operative words. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States. Now, under any state doesn't apply, so you take it out. Who, having previously taken an oath, and none of the others apply, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection. Okay, those are the operative words. Here is the reason, all by itself, why that court is wrong, incorrect, irrational, intellectually dishonest, and I'd say politically crooked. Because the word president isn't in there. Go back, Ted, put it up there again. If the drafters meant to include the president and the vice president, the 2 highest offices in the land, having put senator and representative in, wouldn't the first 2 offices be president, vice president, senator, representative?
Especially considering the fact that they refer to electors of the president.
Yeah, that would have reminded them, oh, gee, we forgot.
Yeah.
and there is no way in the world that any rational person is going to say they meant to include president and vice president. Let's go to the other, make that a little bigger. Or any other office. Read that language. Get that language out.
What?
No, the language that says any other office. Focus in on that. You made it. You made the thing a little too small for me to see it.
Okay, let me see if I can do that.
Because this is important. Try to make it bigger.
Yeah, I will. It'll take a second. I'm going to make it bigger. It's going to take a second.
The point is that phrase, any other, all other offices or any other office, I want to get it exactly right. That's a catch-all phrase. You don't catch the president and the vice president in the catch-all phrase. And you can't do these things to presidents and vice presidents with these extensive interpretations of something that was never interpreted that way before, like all those cases I just showed you. This is outrageous. Jack Smith prosecuting Trump on a thing never been prosecuted before that way. Alvin Bragg prosecuting something's never been prosecuted before as a criminal case. Jack Smith doing the same thing with the Presidential Record Act that has no criminal provision. And Fannie doing a RICO case on a dispute over an election. My goodness, I was there when they created RICO. She is a danger to the republic. And then coming up to New York and getting her payoff from the crooked Democratic Party. How can the Supreme Court tolerate this? You got to be a jerk not to figure out what they're doing. 4 cases of first impression in the 1 year he has to run for president. And he's the leading candidate. Do you know that Maduro is doing this now in Venezuela? He's copying Biden. He agreed to full and fair elections so he could get money from Biden, right? Because Biden needs his oil because he's cut off our oil, but he's buying his oil. And they said, oh, we'll have full and fair elections. And now they're prosecuting their opponents, just like our crook is. Maduro is copying Biden. This is like Stalin copying Hitler or Hitler copying Stalin and say, well, he's not really Hitler and he's not really Stalin. Well, in certain ways, he's doing a hell of an imitation, particularly with regard to the way they're using their courts. This holiday season, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation is delivering on its commitment to do good and never forget the sacrifices of America's greatest heroes. And this is the annual season of hope. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the foundation is delivering mortgage-free homes to dozens of catastrophically injured veterans, first responders, and Gold Star and fallen first responder families. You want to be part of that. One hero who received such a home during the foundation's season of hope is Captain James Howard. Captain James Howard served for years in the 82nd Airborne and Special Forces. He sustained a number of terrible injuries, and today he's a C5 paraplegic, which means he's lost the ability to use his hands and his legs. And he's paralyzed from here down. Tunnel to Towers gave Captain James Howard and his family a fully adapted, mortgage-free smart home, first to ease the financial burden, and second to give him maximum independence, so that with the burdens that he took on to protect us, even with those, he will now have the ability to take care of himself to the maximum extent possible. Isn't that a beautiful thing to do? Don't you want to be part of that? What time of the year would be better to be part of it than right now? So $11 a month, Tunnel to Towers, T2T.org, T2T.org, $11, just $11. Come on, I know I asked you for 10 before and now 11, but that's only $21. Gosh, you spend more. We went to McDonald's the other day, right?
Oh my God.
On our way back from the lawyer's office. What did it cost us for our lunch?
It was about
They're almost $30.
Yeah. And we just had little
3 Big Macs.
3 Big Macs. That was it.
And they were running a special. That was a special.
That was
deal.
supposed to be a
And my
special.
Big Mac.
Well, you took off the Big Mac sauce.
Yeah, but I know the Big Mac was like about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the sign, it's drooling, it's dripping cheese and everything. It's like a monster. And then you get
False advertising.
I watch these shows, with saving dogs.
Yeah.
Rocky Kanaka and that other guy, Victor. I got to remember Victor, the Spanish guy. I love his accent. They go and save dogs that are in trouble. For a while, I was staying up all night watching it. Now I watch only. I limit myself to 2 a night because it helps me relax. And it also, I don't know, you know, we focus so much on evil. It's wonderful to see these people who some of these guys risk their lives to save these dogs.
Yeah.
There's one I've watched twice, and on the side of a highway in Los Angeles, and the ladies almost slipped down into the traffic, saving a mother and the puppies. And of course, at first, the mother is very, very defensive because these people come to say she don't know who they are. So the instinct of the mother is to try to defend the puppies. So they have to work hard to get the trust, and then and it's nice to see this. It's nice to see people doing what Jesus asked them to do, to take care of the least of my brethren. And I know we're talking about animals, but these people would do the same thing for human beings. You know, I mean, it's just a reflection that God's creatures, and they didn't ask to be treated like that. And it's a reflection. Again, you know, I hate to use the word so much tonight, but it's like the reflection of the evil we have in the world. When you see these dogs that are on the brink of death, and somebody just leaves them there, and at least bring them to the pound. You know, bring them to the.
Yeah. If my wife was here right now, she would be agreeing with you so much. She feels so strongly about
if anybody's listening who has one of those places and wants a little attention, or like to bring some dogs here and we can show them.
That's right.
I have dog. Did you see my Max? I'm
gonna see if we can bring that picture up. And while we do
Max?
that,
Max was there when we found out about the Colorado case, and he's smarter than the judges in Colorado. And he said, Max said, "Oh my goodness, are they stupid?" And he went, "Roof, stupid."
That's right. So
crooked Democrats, roof.
Well, we're well into soccer time. Before we continue, comment below. We'll put these up on the screen. We've been having a lot of fun with this the last few days. Comment below where you're tuning in from. Give us the city, state that you're watching from, and maybe even the country. So if you're tuning in from overseas, let us know. So we're gonna we're gonna bring the picture up of Max.
Call us from Venezuela because apparently you're having your opposition candidates all indicted too. Maybe we can develop a little simpatico brotherhood here of indicted lovers of freedom
and goodness.
Isn't it amazing that Maduro is copying Biden? Imagine copying a demented man.
Well, I guess he's kind of smart in a way, right? He's running the model.
Not that it's any of my business. I see Caroline's. Somebody moved Caroline's stocking. But did Navy get a stocking this year?
Caroline's stocking. I was gonna put it up in the shop, but we put something else. It's actually there in the shop, right over your shoulder on the chair armchair.
We don't have the other stockings out yet, so they think we're like Biden. We leave some of the people out.
Thinking we're leaving people out.
Just to really hurt them.
Got to put them over the fireplace, right?
Yeah, what fireplace? I don't have a. Oh yeah, I got one in there.
Yeah,
but I don't have one here. I got one in there.
Yeah.
So we got people tuning in, Mayor, from all over the country.
Just to tell you that I told you I'm really good at history and I'm really good at logic. Making fires. I made a big mess last year. Wow. For Christmas. Remember, Ted? Were you here or had you left already?
What's that?
I smoked up the whole
It became a smoky mess. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah.
Oh, we've had some nice cigars over the past year.
We're going to do a fire this winter for you to see in the other room. We're learning now how to move ourselves around. This is a big thing for Ted and me. We did it ourselves.
We did. Oh, this.
And Rob showed up late, but he helped.
Yeah, we'll give Rob a little bit of credit. We'll give him some credit because we're generous guys.
Yeah.
But we're team players.
We had to go with Plan B.
We did.
Plan A, we were taking the desk.
Plan at least B. I was thinking C or D, but we'll go with B.
Plan A was to take the desk.
Yeah, that A.
Plan B was that one. We couldn't get it through the hallway.
That's right.
So now we're using a smaller desk. It's only this big. See, Ted has.
Maybe we'll show desk. A little bit off here. We'll show our set.
Didn't do what I asked him to do because I have to use the two cameras. He's so worried it's going to.
Well, it's not. We know that
it's going to decrease
it is,
the
and we
value
can't,
of the picture.
and it will. I mean,
but we
can
have the extra RAM now, and we have the Ethernet.
But we don't have the video card.
I don't know if we need the video.
We're not sure. I mean, we could try to add one.
Why don't we try that? Why don't we try that tomorrow?
Well, we'll try it off. You and I will do a test.
Try it. Let's try to do
a test. I don't want to do a test on one of our shows. We're doing so well with the numbers.
The subscription programs that way.
Yeah, that might be this weekend.
And if it doesn't work, then we can do it the other way.
We don't want to just roll it out, Mayor. We're getting such great numbers on the show. These people, we have people over the look. Staten Island is tuning in all the way from Staten Island, North Chesterfield, Virginia. I want you to. Rob's from New Jersey. You're from New York, Mayor. Have you heard of this place?
What?
Sukasuna, New Jersey, or is it Sakasana?
Sakasana. Yeah.
Sakasana, New Jersey.
That way, I would never.
How would you?
I'll rely on Rob for that one.
Yeah.
Tell me, Rob.
How do you pronounce that one?
Indian name, as many things in this region are, right? Like Long Island, Suffolk, Patchogue.
Massapequa.
Yeah.
Massapequa.
Yeah.
Ronkonkoma.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're saying Suffolk County. That's Indian.
Suffolk.
Suffolk?
Yeah.
It's not Suffolk?
I hate to... Suffolk is in England.
Oh, is it really? Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake.
That's okay. I thought that's not... No, Rob is a... Look, Rob knows his stuff. Don't feel bad being corrected by America's mayor, right?
I do believe there's...
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I do believe there's a Duke of Suffolk.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it.
I've become smarter ever since I've been hanging around
but I don't
here.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, I learn every day from the mayor.
Yeah, every day.
Don't know the derivation of Nassau, but there's a Nassau in the Bahamas. So
yeah, Nassau. And the Bahamas were colonized by the British Empire about 100.
Yeah. So there must be a Nassau in.
But it sounds almost the AU kind of. That could be English. Yeah, Nassau AU like. Yeah, I think AU. I think Falklands.
For majority of my life, I thought Suffolk was I thought it was just another Indian name. But yeah,
that wouldn't be bad. I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not the craziest thing. At some point, we got to check in on our friend.
It's a lot better than the interpretation of the Colorado court that was totally intellectually dishonest.
That's right. That's right. So as we enter soccer time, Mayor, we're getting some questions here. Let's go to the comments. And I actually want to check in here with some of our moderators who have been so kind as to share with us some of the questions that they're getting. So let's go ahead and bring up some comments from our friends here.
German and Dutch surname.
Oh, Suffolk?
In the Rhine region of Germany.
Now, we all learned.
Now we're all learning.
This is a place of learning. That's
the
for sure.
Bohemian city is named for the German one. And it's also in Czech and Polish word. What is the origin of the word Nassau? The place name derives from Old High German. It means damp, wet.
Wow.
Or water meadow. Naz-Uwa. N-A-Z-O-U-W-A. Naz means damp or wet. And Uwa means a meadow, a watery meadow.
Wow.
The royal house of Nassau traces its descent from Dudo, Count of Lauenburg, who flourished between 1093 and 1117. His family acquired the county of Nassau in the 12th century.
Unbelievable, right?
Mm-hmm. When it's German, Dutch, 85% of the Bahamian population is of African heritage.
Bahamas.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Bahamas are actually directly east of Palm Beach, isn't it? It's almost directly.
What do Bahamians call white people? Conch.
Huh.
We call them conch. And then that applied to Key West in the 1880s.
But that's right? The Bahamas are off the coast of Florida.
White Bahamians in the Keys continue to be known as Conch.
Spell it.
Conchs.
Conch.
Conch.
Huh.
Conscious.
Huh.
What
Interesting.
percentage of Nassau is black? 80%.
Interesting. Well, that's
70. No.
interesting. Well, maybe we'll do a special on Long Island. That's Nassau and Suffolk, right?
For sure, it's New York.
No. It's Queens, Brooklyn, Nassau.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. I meant that. Yes. Part of the city is right there on the island. All of Queens and all of Brooklyn
Whole thing. Part of
Are on Long
Nassau
Island.
County, but Queens and Brooklyn
are separate.
are part of New York City.
And their own
Nassau
county.
is a separate county of New York State. And Suffolk is a separate county of New York State.
And are they
And
treated
they
as?
have their own governments, both Republican.
Are the boroughs treated as counties in a lot of respects?
Yeah,
Or no?
but they are, but their chief executive is the mayor. So all 5 counties have the mayor as their chief executive.
Instead of where Nassau and Suffolk have
a
county executive.
So
You have a borough
might say
president.
that the mayor is the county executive of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give you the state names for them. New York County, that's Manhattan, the borough of Manhattan. Queens County
Is Queens?
is the borough of Queens.
Okay.
So that they make easy. Brooklyn is Kings County in Albany, in New York, in the New York State Constitution. But it's the borough of Brooklyn. Staten Island is the borough of Staten Island in New York City. But it's the county of Richmond in the state. So it's a very complex thing. They have, each one of them has a borough president who was like a county executive, sort of under the mayor. And the borough presidents used to sit on the used to sit on the board of estimate.
What about the Bronx?
Oh, the Bronx is the Bronx. That's it.
Okay. So Bronx, so King, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island is
And
Richmond,
Queens.
Richmond, and New York. I'm saying the 5 boroughs are at the
So
state
you want to
level.
come down from, if you want to come down from the mainland of the United States, the only thing attached to the mainland of the United States is the Bronx. It's a peninsula that juts down. Then you have the island of Manhattan. You have Long Island, which is Brooklyn and Queens.
Queens is on top. If you're north.
Yeah, no, Brooklyn is here and Queens is here, like this. So
Oh,
like
okay,
this. They sit
okay.
like this.
Yeah.
But they're both part of Long Island, essentially.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you get to the border, which is the border with Nassau.
Yep.
And Nassau is the smaller of the 2 counties, but they have roughly the same population
Yeah, densely
because
populated.
Nassau is more densely populated than Suffolk. And Suffolk still continues to have kind of a bit of a rural area and a bigger beach area, although Nassau's got beautiful Jones Beach.
Yeah.
They're both actually quite beautiful counties, somewhat different. Nassau is a traditional suburban county. It ranges from some poor areas to really rich areas. Nassau County was the Hamptons of the 1910s and 20s,
Yeah.
the Roaring 20s. It was the scene of all of Great Gatsby.
Yes, yeah.
The Gold Coast was in Nassau County on the
That's
north
on the North Shore.
Shore.
Yes, North Shore.
not far from Oyster Bay, which is where Teddy Roosevelt came from. Over the years, the rich and famous moved further and further out, particularly with the Long Island Railroad extending way out to the Hamptons, and the Hamptons took over that Gold Coast feeling, although there are still great mansions
That must have been something
on the
else
North
back
Shore
then.
of Manhattan,
Yeah.
of Nassau. And Suffolk is a very diverse county, from some of the wealthiest properties in the world to very poorer areas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And they were traditionally massive Republican counties, some of the biggest in the country. They flipped after Reagan. Reagan was the last Republican presidential candidate to win them. Trump
What a tragedy that
won
is.
Suffolk.
Good.
Trump won Suffolk back, came very close in Nassau.
He'll definitely win it again, I
But
believe.
since then, we've taken over both, and big majorities, meaning me and Republicans.
Yes.
And I would say that Trump is going to beat him in both Nassau and Suffolk.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably pretty good. Biden's quite unpopular in both places.
Absolutely.
And I think the abortion thing, sort of hurt in the suburbs for a long time. And the Democrats are using it, and maybe some places it's working, but things are so bad in New York and then of course, New York is very affected by how much Biden has double-crossed Adams. And of course they blame it somewhat on Adams, but they are smart enough to realize that it really is more Biden than Adams. I mean, Adams asked for the problem. It was kind of silly, but he didn't deserve what he got. And he does deserve some help from Biden, but Biden's not going to help anybody. He can't even help himself.
Can't even help himself, yeah.
And he likes this. I mean, this is what he wants. He wants him. Remember, he asked him to come to America. One of the things that we could do, we could go to a Republican state, and we could have him removed from the ballot for insurrection.
Should be. Yeah.
For having urged the invasion of the United States. His speech is asking people to surge into the United States.
Yeah.
Well, much more a direct appeal for that than anything Trump ever said about any kind of violence,
Absolutely.
which he never said anything about any kind of violence. Trump said, go to the Capitol peacefully and patriotically.
And they blew it up into a big thing.
And Biden said, get ready to surge into the United States and then let him in illegally. Is that an insurrection? I don't know.
Just like they blew up the
Since you can interpret an insurrection any way you want if you're a court.
Yeah.
So we get Republican judges to do the same thing. A lot of Republicans are saying they want to play like that. We're going to play like that. I don't agree with it. But I tell you, this is exactly what Thomas More was warning about when he said, if you knock down all the laws, what's going to be left to protect you?
It becomes a free-for-all, basically. Yeah.
And the lack of wisdom in this, beyond everything else. Actually, the evil intent of it.
Yes.
James Madison was right. If men were angels, we wouldn't need governments. But what happens when men are devils?
Yeah.
Then you need very strong governments and very strong people.
Guardrails in the government.
No, you need very strong people.
Yeah.
We got some.
Yeah, one is sitting right here on camera.
Thank you.
Yep.
But we got more. And you're going to be with me, and we're going to be signing off for the weekend. You got to go probably finish your Christmas shopping. One of the things you could get people for Christmas, by the way. Oh, really got to get some for Christmas. I got a lot more. Dr. Howard, we need more. balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy. Now, also, since Dr. Maria is not here, I forgot our favorite, Mr. Pillows. MyPillows.com, promo code Rudy. She likes the pillows. She likes the sheets. I like the slippers. I think those slippers on Christmas morning, I think you probably can still get an order if you put it in tonight. Get a big discount, promo code Rudy, I think like 30%, kind of like the 35% you get on this. QUX.com, not a bad Christmas gift to a friend who will save a heck of a lot of money on all kinds of cable rates, get everything that they want, including the conservative stations that are cut off by the creepy communists that you guys are paying money to. And of course, subscribe. Go to X right now. So you'll be ready for the weekend where we're going to have a lot of learning, fun learning. And then we'll have a lot to discuss on Monday when we're back. So Sunday, Dr. Maria and I on Christmas Eve are going to do Uncovering the Truth. WABCRadio.com. Monday, we're going to be on Christmas Day. We're going to be on at 3 o'clock, WABCRadio.com. And then at 8 o'clock, right here, our Christmas Central, right? For America's Mayor Christmas Special. And between that, you'll get a chance to disagree with me. I want you to write down where you disagree with me by going to X. X, what else? What else do you say? Formerly known
as Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter. You go to @Rudy Giuliani and put in your $10 and you're all set for the month.
Do it.
And you're going to get about 20 of these before the end of the month. And you'll be able to critique me. And like my mother, tell me where I was wrong, because she's a lot smarter than I ever was. And so is Dr. Maria and Ted and Rob and all our team here. We got great people. So I guess some of you I won't see until Christmas Day. So to me, I celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. I'm going to go to Mass.
You'll listen. No, everyone here should listen in at least. I mean, Sunday morning, that costs nothing. You can tune into Uncovering the Truth with the great Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Dr. Maria.
Well,
so you'll hear from.
I'm going to wish everybody a very holy Christmas. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas. It's a very important Christmas, and I think it's a good Christmas to reflect. I think it's a good Christmas. It's also a good Christmas to. I think it's a good Christmas to kind of think a little. You think your way through some of these issues. So we'll go off with this piece of music from the Christmas cantata by Johann Sebastian Bach. My goodness. Listen to the introduction. This is called Baroque music, by the way. Ist auf Erden kommen arm, wer kann der Liebe recht erhören? I'll get you the translation. It's quite beautiful.
Good? Are we good? Are you signing off?
I'm going to just tell them what there is. Ist auf Erden kommen arm, wer will die Liebe nicht erhauen, der unser Heilen war uns hag. He has come on earth poor. Who will properly extol the love that our Savior feels for us? Get yourself one of the versions of the Christmas oratorio. Listen to it, read the libretto, and you'll relive the story of Christmas. It's beautiful. God bless you. Merry Christmas. And God bless the greatest country on earth, the United States of America. Is to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able